The ego is a false sense of self. It is a construct, a creation of our minds that we use to navigate the world. This ego is not inherently bad, but it can become a barrier to understanding our true nature. It is like a mask that we wear, hiding our true selves from the world and even from ourselves. It is a mask we wear, a facade that we present to others. This mask is made up of our thoughts, beliefs, and memories. It is a collection of ideas that we have about who we are and how we should be. These ideas are often influenced by our upbringing, our culture, and our experiences, a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and memories that we identify with. We hold on to these ideas because they give us a sense of identity and security, but in doing so, we often lose sight of our true selves. We become so attached to our ego that we forget that it is just a mask, not our true essence. The ego is not who we truly are. Our true self is beyond the ego, beyond the thoughts and beliefs that we hold. It is the part of us that is connected to the universe, to the infinite. It is the part of us that is pure consciousness, pure being. When we meditate or spend time in nature, we can begin to connect with this true self. It is a product of our past conditioning. From a young age, we are taught to identify with our thoughts and emotions. We are taught to believe that our worth is based on our achievements, our possessions, and our status. This conditioning shapes our ego and creates a false sense of self. From a young age, we are conditioned by our experiences. We learn to see ourselves through the eyes of others, to measure our worth by external standards. This conditioning is reinforced by our interactions with family, friends, and society. It becomes deeply ingrained in our psyche, shaping our ego and our sense of self. We learn to identify with our thoughts, emotions, and possessions. We begin to believe that these things define us. We become attached to them, thinking that they give us a sense of identity and security. But this attachment only strengthens the ego and keeps us from realizing our true nature. We begin to believe that these things define us. We think that our thoughts, emotions, and possessions are who we are, but in reality they are just temporary and fleeting. They do not define our true essence. Our true self is beyond these things, beyond the ego. This identification creates a false sense of self, the ego. The ego is like a prison that keeps us from experiencing our true nature. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of attachment and suffering. But we can break free from this prison by becoming aware of our true self, by letting go of our attachment to the ego. We become attached to our thoughts, emotions, and possessions because we believe they give us a sense of identity. But true freedom comes from letting go of this attachment, from realizing that our true self is beyond the ego. When we let go of the ego, we can experience the peace and joy of our true nature. We can live authentically, free from the mask of the ego. Imagine a child with a beloved toy. This toy isn't just an object, it's a source of immense joy and comfort for the child. The child clings to it, plays with it, and even takes it outdoors, showing it off to the world. This toy becomes a constant companion, a silent friend that listens and understands without judgment. The toy brings the child joy and comfort. It becomes a source of security in an unpredictable world. When the child is scared or lonely, the toy is there to provide solace. The simple act of hugging the toy can turn tears into smiles, transforming moments of distress into moments of peace. The child identifies with the toy, believing it to be a part of their identity. They show it off proudly, talk about it with enthusiasm, and hold it close as if it were an extension of themselves. This identification is more than just a fondness, it's a deep-seated belief that the toy is a part of who they are. This attachment to the toy is a simple example of how the ego is formed. The child begins to see the toy as an integral part of their world, something that defines them. This is the birth of attachment, where the lines between self and possession start to blur. The child's sense of self becomes intertwined with the possession. Among other children, the toy becomes a symbol of their uniqueness, a way to stand out and feel special. The toy is no longer just a plaything, it's a part of their identity, a piece of their very being. This identification leads to attachment and ultimately suffering. When the toy is lost or taken away, the child feels a profound sense of loss. The tears and the frantic search for the toy are not just about the object itself, but about the loss of a part of their identity. This is the first taste of the pain that comes with attachment. As we grow older, this pattern of identification continues. The toys change, but the attachment remains. Teenagers become attached to their phones, adults to their cars, and young adults to their social circles. Each new possession or relationship becomes a new piece of the puzzle that defines who we are. We become attached to bigger and better toys, cars, houses, relationships, and even our own thoughts and beliefs. These attachments shape our identities and influence our actions. The cycle of attachment and suffering continues as we constantly seek to define ourselves through the things we possess and the relationships we form. The birth of attachment in childhood sets the stage for a lifetime of seeking and clinging, always looking for the next thing to complete us. The ego thrives on identification. It seeks to define itself through the things it owns and the status it believes it holds. This identification is a way for the ego to feel more real, more substantial. It clings to possessions, titles, and achievements as if they are lifelines, giving it a sense of permanence and importance. It seeks to solidify its existence by attaching itself to things. The more it owns, the more it feels it exists. This is why we often see people chasing after the latest gadgets, the trendiest clothes, or the most luxurious cars. These items are not just objects, they are symbols of who we think we are or who we aspire to be. Possessions become extensions of ourselves, bolstering our perceived identity. We start to believe that without these things we're less valuable, less significant. This attachment to material objects can become so strong that it dictates our actions and decisions, often leading us to prioritize things over experiences and status over genuine connections. We believe that owning certain things will make us happy, secure, or admired. This belief drives us to work harder, to spend more, and to constantly seek out the next big thing. We think that by acquiring more, we will finally reach a state of contentment and fulfillment. But this is a never-ending cycle. This belief is an illusion. The happiness we seek in material possessions is fleeting. Once the novelty wears off, we are left with the same emptiness we started with. The ego's hunger for more is insatiable, and no amount of possessions can ever truly satisfy it. True happiness and fulfillment cannot be found in external objects. They come from within, from a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not dependent on what we own. When we let go of our attachment to material things, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of desire and disappointment. When our sense of self is based on external factors, we become trapped in a cycle of desire and attachment. We are always looking for the next thing to make us feel complete, but this feeling is always temporary. The more we chase after it, the more elusive it becomes. We are constantly striving for more, never finding true satisfaction. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift our focus from external possessions to internal growth. By cultivating a sense of self that is not reliant on what we own, we can find a deeper, more lasting sense of happiness and fulfillment. Advertising plays a significant role in perpetuating this cycle. Advertisers understand the ego's need for identification. They exploit our insecurities and desires, convincing us that we need their products to be happy, successful, or complete. We are bombarded with messages that equate possessions with happiness, status, and even love. These messages appeal to our ego's desire for more, fueling our attachment to the material world. Section 5. The paradox of consumerism. A fleeting illusion of happiness. Consumerism promises happiness, but it delivers only fleeting satisfaction. The ego's hunger for more is insatiable. As soon as we acquire one thing, we begin to crave something else. This endless cycle of desire and acquisition keeps us trapped in a state of dissatisfaction. We become so focused on the pursuit of material possessions that we lose sight of what truly matters in life. Section 6. The true value of things, utility versus ego gratification. It is important to note that not all possessions are inherently bad. We need certain things to live comfortably and functionally in the world. The key is to distinguish between things we need for their utility and things we acquire for ego gratification. When we attach our sense of self to possessions, we give them power over us. They become a source of anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. Section 7, from identification to liberation. observing our attachment to possessions. The first step to breaking free from the ego's grip is to become aware of our attachment to possessions. Observe your thoughts and emotions when you shop, acquire new things, or think about your possessions. What motivates your desire for these things? Are you seeking happiness, security, or validation through your possessions? Section 8. The joy of letting go. Freedom from the ego's clutches. Letting go of attachment to possessions can be a liberating experience. It allows us to experience a deeper sense of freedom and joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. When we detach from our possessions, we are free to focus on what truly matters in life, our relationships, our passions, and our own inner growth. Section 9. Living a life of presence, beyond the material world. By becoming aware of our ego's need for identification and choosing to find our sense of self from within, we can break free from the cycle of desire and attachment. We can experience true happiness and fulfillment in the present moment, free from the illusion of material possessions. Live a life of presence, appreciating the beauty and simplicity of each moment, and discover true joy beyond the material world.